Hello and welcome to the latest Accounting Bites video with me, Kevin Reid. It's wonderful to have you on board for my latest Periscope broadcast. For those of you that have stuck with me for all of the last 2 weeks, you'll be aware that me being out and about as a freelance journalist, I'm trying to do Periscope and YouTube videos of people that I just kind of randomly bump into and cross paths with. And last week I spoke to Chris Merry, who is CEO of iPairs. This week I get to speak to Carl Reeder, as Director of D&T Chartered Accountants, and I'll be talking to him in a second about a new joint venture of his, Taxgo. So thank you for joining us. Obviously, for those of you watching through Periscope, feel free to send little questions and comments in, nice ones, or constructive ones at least, during the session, and as I interview Carl I'll try and keep an eye on the screen. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, well, you can't do that. It's a shame. You should have joined us on Periscope. But if you are watching on YouTube, it's great to have you on board as well, and you can add comments and subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch more of these videos as I get myself out and about and find out what are the interesting things going on in the accounting profession and the future of the profession, really. Again, a topic we'll touch on with Carl. So let's say, oh, by the way, I'm in the Lamb Tavern here with Carl in Leadenhall Market, so it's really kind of them to let us sit here and do this broadcast. Richard, yes, I am back in the boozer, so for those of you watching on YouTube, people are pointing out that I'm back in the pub, but that's not much of a story, really. Carl, welcome.
Hey Kev, thank you so much. I know we've been trying to do this it's been a couple of years now. We've been trying to get a Periscope video and we've finally done it. So guys, it's great to be on here.
Okay, great. So why don't we get things kicked off? So Carl, can you give us a little bit of detail about D&T and then move into like the elevator pitch for Taxgo, and then we'll move the conversation on from there.
Yeah, cool. So this is great. So this is my bit to do a bit of an advert for you guys. So D&T is a small to medium-sized firm of accountants specialising in the franchise market. We're about 2.2 million turnover now, just over 50 staff, look after loads of household names. So we really punch above our weight, looking after brands like Dino, like Arsenal Soccer Schools and so on. We've been exploring the small business accounting model. We've seen what the Big Four have done, what's been done in the past, and also what's been done at the present, and we don't believe that any of them have nailed it. So alongside Ty Barley Tomlin, we've launched a joint venture called Taxgo. Now Taxgo is very simply 21st century accounting at 1950s prices. So it's a dirt cheap compliance only service for those very small businesses that feel they can handle it themselves.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Carl. So how does that offering sit alongside what you do with D&T and obviously with Ty Barley Tomlin as well?
Sure, so I'll answer on behalf of Ainsley at Ty Barley Tomlin to start with. So Ty Barley Tomlin are a very niche practice, looking after businesses with high growth aspirations, typically 1 million turnover up to 10 million turnover. And I mean, I can't speak for Ainsley, but I would imagine he doesn't have many more than 100 clients. They get very personal contact, they get red carpet rolled out, high fees, but you know what, they get the service for it. D&T focus on two core markets. First of all is our local market, where we offer a similar service to Ty Barley Tomlin insofar as red carpet, it's at the upper end of what the local firms are doing. And in the franchising market, it's a bespoke service that's franchise network accounting. It really focuses on the network performance as a whole, as opposed to just saving the individual some tax. So the small business accounting space is somewhere that both ourselves and Ty Barley Tomlin wanted to move into. However, our existing businesses weren't really geared up to be able to do that. So that's where Taxgo came about. Now, there is a risk for both of us that our very small list of businesses, the independent businesses, might see the need for a service like Taxgo as being better for them than the service we offer at the moment. But if that's the case, then we're not actually doing the job that we should be doing in our core businesses.
Okay, so I can understand that effectively you're providing, it's a separate service that, as you pointed out, maybe for a small subset of your clients, they may see that as a more fitting offering than the one that they currently have with you. And I guess the risk of you not offering that other service is that they may look elsewhere anyway. You know, this is a burgeoning model. But what happens is there any link between Taxgo and the D&T and Taylor Tomlin businesses? You know, some of those small clients, is it going to end up as a feeder?
Okay, so to answer the first question that came out there, then we'll move on to the feeder question. The first question was about the crossover, and you know, there is, as we alluded to, there's a small percentage of our clients that might feel Taxgo's attractive. We're actually looking at this as, and to reinforce what you've said, as something that we need to do before someone else does it to us. If you take Apple, for example, you look 10 years ago, what their most popular product was. It was the iPod. And they actually disrupted the iPod out of the market by creating the iPhone. Now, I'm not suggesting that Taxgo is the new iPhone. However, what I am suggesting is that if we don't disrupt ourselves, if we don't embrace the changes in what's going on in the world, then actually someone else will. The Big Four have tried it. They've not made a dent to us, despite a concerted effort in our specific industries, together with a concerted effort to small businesses. Just because the Big Four haven't been able to do it, someone else will be able to, so we want to take first mover advantage with that. So if that just clarifies the lead up to the question was, will Taxgo act as a feeder to D&T and Taylor Tomlin? At the moment, yes it will. We're not looking to actively pluck businesses out of this. You know, we're not unicorn hunting. We're not looking for the next big thing that we can pull out and make some real money from. However, in the short to medium term, we don't actually want that to be the case. Taxgo's core business is really not VAT registered, 30 grand turnover, you know, a freelancer, somebody who is computer savvy and can handle their affairs themselves, and actually they are in the 4.4 million of businesses with no employees. As it stands at the moment, there's pretty much 5.5 million businesses in the UK. 1.1 million is the target market for most firms of accountants. These are people that employ staff and will actually be able to provide the accountant with a platform to offer some value. Taxgo is purely focused on the 4.4 million who've got no staff whatsoever. The ones who want to handle it themselves, they're relatively tech savvy. We're trying to help them embrace MTD and so on. We're trying to help them make their compliance as simple and as cheap as possible. Longer term, we do see that there will be a requirement of a proportion of Taxgo's businesses to have some more hand-holding advice, because Taxgo really is the Ryanair, the EasyJet of accountancy. So we are looking at partnering with national firms to be able to do this. So it won't be D&T, it won't be Taylor Tomlin. We are in initial conversations at the moment with national networks so that actually it can be put in with somebody who can service the client at the level they need.
So if we talk about the future of the profession, you know, you mentioned that magic acronym MTD, which obviously stands for Making Tax Digital. In the words digitisation, automation, higher value services, they're terms that we hear a lot of around the practice community. What does that kind of mean for you in your orbit and your world of work? And where do you see the grander profession as such?
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for the hearts that are coming up on Periscope. Again, the YouTubers won't have a clue what this is, but the guys clicking the heart button, keep clicking it because it's great to see. The profession is massively changing. So in the past, we had a situation where you could either be cheap and cheerful, or you could be a premium service. And the danger in the past was always being caught in the middle. Now, this doesn't just apply to the professions. This actually applies to all businesses. You could either be the Audi or Lidl, you know, stack it high, sell it cheap, or you'd be the Waitrose, hello sir, how would you like your bags packed? So practices had tended to adopt one or the other. However, what's happening now is that the automation, you know, the robots are coming, and the cheap and cheerful is actually a race to automation. So there's a real challenge in the profession. Taxgo is our marker in the sand. There'll be other markers as well. I genuinely believe that Taxgo's biggest competitors won't be other firms of accountants. It will actually be software providers trying to serve the end consumer themselves. I believe that the profession is changing where you really do need to automate what you're doing and get the cost down as far as possible, because otherwise someone else will do that, or you need to offer a true added value service. Now, in terms of what can be automated, a load of repetitive tasks, things that require manual dexterity as far as tapping numbers on a keyboard, can be automated. So the traditional bookkeeping, adding up numbers for tax returns, preparing company accounts, that stuff can be automated. The stuff that can't be automated is the stuff that requires a human touch. So whether it's specialist skills or whether it's interpersonal skills, and that's where accountants really need to focus. Now,
we're seeing massive issues around that, Carl, in that there are people that are having to that don't offer that service at all, that stick with kind of manual-based compliance work, and for those that are getting their head around this issue, they're struggling to actually find the people to do that work because they're so sought after.
Well, do you know what? They need to find them. Accountants will need to set themselves apart in the market, and I've noticed a change from the software companies to try and point people towards being an added value advisor, a trusted advisor. That really is going to be at the forefront of most accountants' minds going forwards, because the compliance is being sorted automatically nowadays. That's just happening, and actually the best accountants will be the ones who can identify the business advice that they can offer based on the numbers. But it won't necessarily just be financial advice. It will be advice about the whole of the business across all departments, advice about their leadership, their management and their operations, advice in all operational areas. That's what businesses want. The days of relying on businesses paying an overinflated hourly rate for form filling, I don't believe that we're going to have many days left to do that.
It's effectively it's a double whammy, isn't it? Because you're having to revolutionise how you provide services and the type of service that you're providing to your client base, and part of the process of being able to do that is to revolutionise and change yourself. It's a hell of a lot to do to get your head around both sides of that.
Yeah, it's a massive change, and I think that what we will see is a new generation of star players in accounting firms. So we will see that the rainmakers will take a lot more importance in a firm, the marketeers will take a lot more importance in a firm, and the true relationship managers. Now, that's not a relationship manager picking up a phone, chasing up some accounts and talking through the numbers at the end of the year. That's a relationship manager who's prepared to go out, meet a client, have a cup of coffee, what's going on in your world, and sharing the experience that they've accumulated through working with thousands of other businesses. That's where accountants will need to position themselves.
That's almost a more corporate structure. Therefore, as part of that process, you may need higher level office managers or people that actually run the strategy without necessarily even doing the work.
Absolutely right, and I can't see any other way for the profession. What's going to happen nowadays is the managers in accounting firms won't be the time-served ones. They won't be the qualified ones. It won't be the fact that you got ACA or ACCA after your name. That's totally irrelevant. Actually, the managers should be bloody good at management. The doers should be good at doing, and I think that the skill sets needed in an accounting firm are going to widen quite massively. So yes, sorry, somebody's just mentioned soft skills importance goes up completely. I think that accountants are going to need to understand interhuman relationships. They're going to need to understand how to negotiate, how to deal with people, how to win friends and influence people. They're going to need to learn all of that stuff that actually every other business has had to embrace. We've been, as an industry, lazy and kind of let it happen around us. We've now got to embrace it and operate as proper businesses.
Okay, we've covered a hell of a lot of ground there, so I really appreciate your time, Carl. Thank you very much.
Kev, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And it seems as if the microphone has worked and our signal has worked, so we've been able to broadcast despite all of nature's efforts to try and get in our way. So thank you again for watching today's video. I do upload these onto YouTube, so please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll do more and more out and about videos over the coming weeks and months, I hope. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the other side.